So here we are live once again for our fortnightly Stump The Strategist. I'm Adam Long, General Manager at Step Change Marketing.
And I'm Jeff Cooper. I'm a Senior Partner here and a Founder.
So Stump The Strategist, we love to run it every 2 weeks. It's a little bit like the Gruen Transfer meets Whose Line Is It Anyway? A bit of Mr. Squiggle, and if you joined us last week, a little bit of 24 thrown in as well. In Stump The Strategist, we're going to take your chewiest, crunchiest, nuttiest marketing challenge, put 9 minutes on the clock up here. Jeff and I, and over the weeks, guests, partners, and the other strategists at Step Change are going to build you a strategy live in 9 minutes to solve it.
Yeah, now that's a really good point. So in true lean startup methodology, we've been testing this system out over the last couple of weeks. We've had some good attendance. We're pretty happy with the results. But over the next couple of months, we're going to really turn the heat up. So we've got special guests coming along each week. We'll let you know about that before it happens. And every single one of them will have an area of interest or a specialty. So check in on the emails, make sure that you look at what their specialty is and think about if you've got any challenges in that area. And then of course, drop your questions to stumpme@stepchangemarketing.com.
Now, we're running this every fortnight because while we used to run this monthly as an event, we realised that marketing challenges come up more often than that. And there you are, sitting at your desk at lunchtime. I hope you've got a delicious sandwich to tide you through. We said, right, we've got to get out there more often because those challenges can come up and sometimes you just get stuck. So if you've got stuck in a meeting, something's on your plate, you just don't know where to go, hold on to it, bring it along fortnightly, and Jeff and I, the other Step Change strategists in our series of partners over the next few months are going to solve them live.
Yeah, nice. And just a quick recap, I know some of you, I saw the names, you checked in on our STS 24 marathon last week. A few results on that, so we had over 500 people through over the 24 hours. We got 24 hours of media coverage on the 2 largest blogs. And obviously the eyeballs across that are absolutely huge. And we had questions from all around the world. So this is just a tighter version today, where it's just to our database and our clients. So please have a think about the questions that you've got on your mind. Now, what makes a really great question is something that's generous, so it's not just beneficial to you, but maybe other people out there will get some value from it as well. But also it's specific, so it's got those little nuts and bolts that let us know exactly how to answer it and how to put together a strategy for you.
Great. So you can send your questions, you can email us as Jeff said, send it to stumpme@stepchangemarketing.com, and I believe our lovely assistant Dave just off screen here has a couple of questions that have been emailed throughout the week. But even better, we love to get them live, we love them on the spot.
That's right.
This is about taking what's bothering you, what's your challenge right now, and let's solve it. The whole world has changed since 9 a.m. this morning, and while we try and keep up, we're going to take your challenges live. So there's a comments box in GoToMeeting. You can use that to submit your question. It'll go through to Dave, come through to us, and we're going to solve it live. Otherwise, we'll go to one ready for us from the people who've emailed us this week.
All right, big loud voice.
Dave?
Yep.
Going to one of the emailed ones? All right. Yep. So, stumpme@stepchangemarketing.com is the email box. It goes through to Dave. Dave brings them along. We get started. So here's the first one that we've got. So I represent a San Francisco ad tech startup here in Australia. Very nice. Welcome to Australia. The software product we are offering seems to be ahead of the capability and skills within the market. Okay, so here's the description. Pocket Math is the name of the service. Is the world's largest 100% self-serve mobile demand-side platform for programmatic mobile. Did you get that?
Wow, what a mouthful.
Okay, I'm going to read that through again. So Pocket Math is the world's largest 100% self-serve mobile demand-side platform for programmatic mobile. We make it easy to buy smartphone and tablet ad impressions within apps, games, and mobile websites, all in real time. In one platform, you gain immediate access to the world's supply of mobile real-time bidding inventory. So the question is, now guys, it's meant to be answers in 9 minutes, not questions in 9 minutes, but here's a question at the end here. So what's the best way to help clients adopt new technology, methods, and paradigms? So what's the best way to help clients adopt new technology, methods, and paradigms? Right, we got the question, we've got 2 strategists, Jeff Cooper, Senior Partner at Step Change, and myself, Adam Long at Step Change Marketing. We've got the clock. Dave, are we ready to start the clock?
We are ready to start the clock.
9 minutes and we're off and away. Look, probably the best place to start, Jeff, is explaining for the folks watching at the office what the hell this program actually does, right? So when we talk about demand-side platform and programmatic mobile, what we're talking about is ad impressions. You know, sometimes you're on your mobile, you get some banner ads, things pop up when you're trying to read the news, they come up in games. There's all sorts of ways you can reach people using mobile and tablet advertising. So from the description here, this is a platform that gives you access to all of those tools, all those ways to reach people on tablets and mobile. Now, sounds like it's a new perspective. Look, I'm going to get us started even that... Yeah, what's this? I'm stumped.
Guys, I'm disappointed here actually. This is the first time ever I've been stumped on this. There was way too many buzzwords in that for me. Luckily, you know, this is a great thing about having a live event like this. Dave, who's our lovely and very handsome production assistant, also spent a lot of time doing digital ad buys. So I'm actually going to phone a friend on this one. I'm going to step right out and I'm going to bring Dave in, impromptu, to just answer a few things and share a bit of his knowledge.
Thank you, Jeff. I might have to borrow a clip here too, or I can just hold it like this.
That's what happens when it's live, Dave. Just go for it.
Okay, so we're going for it, and the first thing I'm going to need is a marker. Okay, so let's just read this question one more time.
So, Dave, you have a read of the question.
Okay.
The issue here is it's all about switching, and this is a common problem clients come to us when they're looking for the strategy and the way forward. Your goal here is to actually switch people from where they'd be spending their digital marketing budget otherwise. Where's that? Well, everybody knows about AdWords. A few people even know about advertising through Google and YouTube and platforms beyond, but fewer people realise that there is an opportunity here to use this in other areas. Now, some people do, agencies, and Dave, that's where your experience is, so maybe you can talk a little bit about agencies. But when you're trying to get clients themselves, what are you doing? When you're trying to get clients themselves to use the platform, first thing you've got to do is explain what the hell it is. Because when you talk about mobile demand-side platform for programmatic mobile, it's something that means something to those agencies, means something to those working in the digital space, but for everyone else it sounds like technical jargon. What we've got to get to is the implication. What does this make possible for you as a marketer, for you as an advertiser, that the other platforms don't? When you get to what's possible, you also need to back it with the reason to believe, the really functional, rational features that sit behind it and make it better than where people would otherwise spend their money, which is essentially on AdWords.
Cool. So I'm just going to kick us off, Adam. For those who don't know, I have a massive background in programmatic ad buying, funnily enough. So it's like we almost planned this. And so the real question, I guess, when you think about how do you get adoption within these agencies, the first question is, are they currently doing programmatic mobile or not? Or are they just doing the traditional, what most agencies doing, programmatic through desktop? And that's the first argument, because when we know that, we know where we need to switch from. So I would establish that, are they doing programmatic mobile or not? The next thing I would look at is finding the key agencies that are buying this media. So there are a lot of media buying agencies, some of them do programmatic, some of them don't, and a lot of them license software like yours to sell on to clients. So we find our key agencies that can then use this software in a way to benefit clients, to get ahead of the curve, to expand their buying options. A lot of them are limited to desktop. We're just seeing some video in terms of programmatic ad buying, and mobile and gaming, I think, was on this, is the next wave. So are they doing that? I don't know. The third thing, and I just had a peek at the website here, we brought it up on screen, and I noticed that what you're doing through Pocket Math is really driving category values. So you talk a lot about real-time bidding, when in reality, that's not the issue. What you need to do is, what is programmatic mobile and what are the implications of that? And then why you? So you need to compare yourself to any other programmatic mobile technology out there. Chances are you're not the only one. And how I would do that? A simple tactic I would use is something called the traffic light. So we get all of our points of difference in our features, and we just line them up against our competitors with, is it a green light to us only? Is it a yellow light to a few other competitors? And is it a red light, so is it parity? And that's how we can start to pull ourselves apart. And from there, we can start winning the why us.
So this is about switching against other players and the behaviours that people are next to. When you talk about having a paradigm shift and changing behaviour, that is absolutely critical to get there.
Yeah.
Did you have more, Dave?
You know, that's all I had.
Yeah.
The next thing I would do is launch a video to lead your site. We all know how effective videos, so I would do something called an explainer video, which is 60 to 90 seconds, and it's a way of simply describing what you do and why it matters. It educates and entertains, and one of the great things about videos, not only does it help clients, help us tell clients what we do, but we actually have, I think it's 50 times more likely, Adam? So 50 times more likely to be on the front page of Google with video. So another great stat, a way to drive adoption, a way to drive education, and I think that's the key thing that you're going to need to pull out. So Adam, that's all I had in terms of the four-step framework.
Okay, look, I think I've got the strategy in a nutshell for you here. Look, the reality of this is you have two markets. One is growing the market for mobile advertising in the first place, mobile and tablet advertising. Getting new people who currently aren't using it at all. For these guys, first thing is they need to be able to understand what it is. And that's where Dave was talking about the explainer video and really wrapping it up neatly. Look, wrapped up in understanding what it is, I'm going to do something I probably shouldn't do online when I can't talk to you, but Pocket Math isn't a great name for explaining what it is. Now, we always say your name and the line, the tagline that you sit with it, needs to communicate what your platform does and what changes in your customer's life as a result. Pocket Math at the moment doesn't quite do it for me with the things that you've described. Now, maybe if we dig a little bit deeper on your messaging, we could get there. But at the moment, you need a tagline that's going to bring meaning to the line Pocket Math. Once people understand it, and remember we're still in the market growth segment here, you need to give them an opportunity to trial it. This is making sure it's really simple to use a wizard to step-by-step run their first online mobile ads. So use gamification. Use, hey, it's only 3 steps. Here's the first step. All you have to do is come up with what's the area you'd like to be advertising. Great. Good work. You're a third of the way there. Next step is choose the platforms that you're actually going to be bidding on. Great. Third step is you're actually up and running and you're live. You want to encourage that trial and make it super, super simple. Then your challenge is how to get them to adopt it, which is after they've run a trial the first time, you need to be in there with frequency, reminding them of why it was such a great idea to use in the first place.
Well, it looks like Jeff here is unstumped all the time.
Gee, here he comes. The other side of it is switching, which Dave was talking about using traffic lights, is just showing so simply how Pocket Math compares to the other platforms out there and the other approaches of doing it. You've got to show what's different, and it's not enough when you're talking to this audience to just be talking about the value of advertising online and the market that you've got, going back to your question, the platform, the immediate access. It's about how it's actually better, fundamentally different for your day-to-day life, the way you run campaigns, the way your businesses run. You've got to give the reasons they should be switching with a rational explanation of why you're better, but the emotional switching reason, which is what changes in your life. So 2 areas you need to look at, and you need to be targeting them very differently.
All right. 2 strategies that I would bring into play here. The first one is accreditation, for those of you that can't read my writing. Now, I happen to know one of my business partners is one of the most awarded media strategists in the country. So his job is to make sure that all of the people within his agency know about all of this sort of stuff. Here's the problem. They can have as many people in as they want, they can tell their staff as much as they want, but unfortunately, staff live in a world of, I've got so much on, how can I possibly learn this? Here's what you need. Set up a simple accreditation system that not only has the engagement up front where you come into the agencies and tell them about that, but make sure that you're actually signing up their staff and accrediting them. So just by simply using open rates, the amount of time they spend on your educational videos and tools, which you can use through a tool like Wistia, and common analytics that come out of something like a marketing automation platform, you can make sure that those people within an agency are actually hearing your message, listening to your message, and getting enough frequency to be able to become your mobile sales.
9 minutes is up. Slow down there. All right.
Google does a great job of that, Jeff. Google goes into every single agency and accredits them.
Yeah, right.
To be able to buy.
Yeah. 9 minutes, it's over. Alright, so look, remember you've got 2 markets, you need to speak differently to each one, whether you're growing the market, getting people to try the category for the first time, or whether you're switching. Use some of these tactics like accreditation and thought leadership to get in there and run that really powerfully. Make it super easy to understand what it is, explain it in video, have a gamified platform for trialing it, make sure you're following up with the frequency so people actually adopt it and it becomes a long-term part of their marketing approach. So we went from a partly stump there, Jeff, to a hospital pass to Dave, who's meant to be sitting off screen.
That's the good thing about Teams. You see, when you use Teams, you've always got an answer.
So, this is Stump the Strategist. You do get to vote whether we were stumped or passed. Was there something useful? Did we actually build a strategy that is going to be useful for getting Pocket Math really up and running? Or were we stumped? Did that not work at all? Were we just Jeff running away to hide in a corner? You've got the quick poll on your screen right now. Just click whether we were stumped, whether we were passed. We'll just wait for those results to come up live and see how we went.
Nice. And look, guys, whilst those of you are voting, it's a good chance for the rest of you to just have a quick think about that question on your mind. So Adam knows a lot about minimum viable products. He knows a lot about raising capital through things like Kickstarter. He's an entrepreneur, he's a brilliant marketing strategist and not such a bad salesman either. So any questions in that area, he's absolutely your man.
All right, we're going to close this puppy down.
Great.
And how is it voted?
We have got 75% pass.
It's a majority pass. 75% of you, thank you very much. The other 25%, email me later and we can work out exactly how we missed that question for you.
Thank you for your honesty, though. This is why Stump the Strategist walks that fine line between bravery and stupidity. Geez, lucky it was only 25%.
Yeah, exactly right.
Ended up looking really stupid today. So it's honest, it's live wire. We're working from the strategies and the models that we use with our clients all the time. We're going to open up for our next question. Remember, you can submit your question by emailing us, stumpme@stepchangemarketing.com, or you can use the comments and questions panel on GoToMeeting to submit your question. It'll go through to Dave, who we're going to keep off screen for the rest of the session and come through to us. So Dave, do we have a question coming through online yet, or will we go to another email one?
I think we're going to go with an emailed one, Adam.
Yep. Great. All right. So, do we have the name for this one?
That's the new concept.
Yeah, the name of the person who asked the question.
I'll
take that as a no, so we're going to move right on.
Scott O'Brien.
Scott O'Brien. Scott, thank you for your question.
Thank you, Scott.
Scott's question is, I bought the domain years ago to promote my sport, www.floorball.tv. Okay. I also wanted to use it as a portal, news and other things, and maybe an online lottery to generate revenue for charity. I'm open now to the direction of the business. What does it say to you? How would you shape it and launch it? So Jeff, the question is about floorball as a sport, and Scott's got the domain name for floorball.tv. Wants to use it as a portal, news and other things, and maybe an online lottery to generate revenue for charity. So open now to the direction of the business. What does it say to us? Where should it go? Are you clear on the question?
Yeah.
We're ready with 9 minutes on the clock.
We are ready.
And we're off and away.
So look, Scott, what I actually heard there was I have an asset, not a business. You've bought this domain name and you want to do something with it, but you're not really sure what. And I think that's the first insight right there. What we're dealing with here is an asset, and what we need to do is decide whether or not that asset has some sort of commercial viability, or in fact, if it can just raise some money for charity or a profile, or indeed further the sport. So that's question number one. Now what I'm going to do is give you a framework for breaking that down and starting to make some of these decisions. So the first thing is get really, really clear on your mission. So the model that we use is MOST, mission, objective, strategy, tactics. You actually need to decide what it is that you're going to do, because depending on what you do, completely changes the business model and where you're headed. So mission is your overarching goal. What would you like to achieve using this asset? Objective is, what are the sorts of things that you can measure and know will get you to that mission? Strategy is, well, how am I actually going to achieve that? It's the how. And the tactics is the what. What specifically will I do along the stages of this to make sure that it's a successful business or venture? Now, that's a lovely overarching framework, but how do you actually work out what I should do with this asset? Now, the first thing I would do is I'd actually have a look at the search terms around floorball and around your URL and around related terms. What you can actually build and what you should build is a table that has the term, then has the traffic or clicks, and then has the competition, right? What you're looking for is you're trying to work out, well, how many people are actually interested in this sport online, and what sort of people are they, what are their demographics, and how do they behave? once you know that, it's really going to drive what you actually do with this asset. So a term might be learning floorball. That might be a term, right? The traffic might be there's 100,000 Australians searching for this every single day, and the competition might be actually there's a lot of ad buying around this. Terms are up to $20 a click, which happens in the mortgage game, or it could be really, really low. What you're doing here is you're working out if you have a high number of traffic, if you have a high traffic number and a low competition number, in other words, the terms are cheap, that means there's opportunity in there. And what you're actually looking to do is build a profit model whereby you know what it would cost you to buy a particular eyeball, and then you can work out between what it would cost you and what you're actually trying to do with it, what sort of money you have to play with. Because any business model starts with your costs, your expenses, and of course your cost per acquisition. So because you're online, you have to drive people there. So knowing this cost first lets you know the minimum amount of revenue per person you need to be bringing back in for this thing to be sustainable. That's a really key piece of information. Once you know that, you can work out what the hell it is that happens above that that makes this profitable and helps you grow.
Scott, I'm a little bit stumped myself on this one. I'm familiar with the sport floorball, which is a little bit like Swedish hockey is probably the best way I've heard it described.
On a basketball court, I think.
On a basketball court. So not
indoors.
very big in Australia. It's a new sport, and essentially that means it's competing with every other sport out there. Now, in your question, Scott, you talked about having a lottery for charity, you talked about using it for news, and you talked about using it as a portal. It goes back to what Jeff was saying about understanding really, well, why are you doing this in the first place? Is it actually to run as a business? Are you doing it because, hey, you actually want to raise funds for charity, or are you doing it to build a community? And look, if you're looking to turn this into a business and to really get it off the ground, there's a few things to consider. Like, let's start with the business models that already exist for sport. So for some sports, the business model is entertainment. That's your NRL, it's your AFL. The purpose of the sport essentially is to make money by getting eyeballs on the screen, watching the games get played, into the field, into the stadiums to watch it. Now, if that's what you're going for, if floorball is actually about entertainment, you've got to be switching people from the other sports that they'd be watching. You're looking to secure media rights, you're looking to get on TV, you're looking to create online streaming so people can actually participate. The second area you might look at is a participation or a mastery model for sport, which is, take martial arts as an example, where people are paying money for the training to get good at it. Not necessarily to compete, although competition might be part of it, but getting into a good spot for themselves where they're powerful at it, they have the mastery, and people train for it, are willing to pay for those skills. So that's three areas to have a look at in terms of the business model. Each one of them comes with their own challenges, but again, it comes back to predatory marketing, which is you've got a sport, there's already sports out there. It's not a new category, it's not something new for anybody. Your job is to switch people from whatever other sport they'd be watching and shift them in. So one way to do that is starting to look at the seasonality of it. So if I don't know when floorball is played, do you?
Yes, I do. I believe it's played through winter because our favourite ex-employee Megan Kasakis was a big floorball fan.
There you go. So if it's played in winter, your job is to find people who would be watching a summer sport, connect with them there and make sure they're lining up for the winter season. So your job then is to get in with the cricket, with the swimming, with complementary sports, and actually get them to switch. So this is what you're watching in summer, here's what you'll be watching in winter. Look, you've asked what our opinion was of the other directions of the business you mentioned. Having a lottery for charity or using it as a news portal. For you to make money on either of these, you're going to need volume, you're going to need a large audience. Now, Jeff drew up a model for how to get an audience online, whether that makes sense for you. But you can't just assume that because you built it, people will come. It's the biggest disappointment of the internet. Anyone can make a website, not anyone can get 1 million people coming towards it. So to build that audience, you'll need to be channeling people in from other areas. You'll need to be on YouTube demonstrating the sport with pre-rolls, live videos that then direct to your platform. You'll need to be on the other entertainment sites. And geez, really, it's a big hill to climb. At the end of the day, the consistent theme here is switching. And to know what you're switching from, you've got to be clear on your mission and your objectives, and then your strategies, how you switch people from that.
Yeah, so there's two other things that I'd consider. Now, first of all, we've talked a lot about, well, what the hell do we do with this asset? The best way to work that out is to do a test survey. Now, what you can actually do is use that domain. You can put up a landing page that quite simply outlines some of your possible intentions, drive traffic towards that landing page and put them through a survey that says, look, I'm interested in the sport of floorball. You obviously are too. I just wanted to know, if I was to build something here to further the sport of floorball, insert mission here, would you be most interested in news, charity events, education, and whatever else? Now what you're going to do is you're going to drive 1,000 people through that at the cheapest possible cost and try and get together a bank of surveys of maybe 100, 200 surveys. The idea here is you're going to use them to formulate and tell you what they actually want, because strategists we might be, but there's nothing that replaces consumer research. And by setting this up, it's a really cheap way to use your asset, cheaply driven leads, and actually define and start to build that product mix. The last thing I would consider is that everything changed in search when Panda was released. Now, Panda was the new version of the Google algorithm. So, word salad for breakfast this morning. But what this means is that they changed the way they evaluate pages, what they look at and where they'll rank. The big insight here, if I was to boil it down to one single thing, was it became all about content, unique and relevant. So unless you're planning on spending a lot of ad spend to get people through to your website, one of the very best ways, and literally overwhelmingly the most influential way to get that traffic, is by building content. Now, why do I say this? We talked about a cost model below here.
20 seconds.
Where we actually drove our people. Content is bloody expensive to build. You need to know what you're going to do. It's going to be content. Cost that up first.
Okay, last one from me. If you're going to cut through with all the other sport that's out there, it's not enough to just say, hey, it's like Swedish hockey played on a basketball court. You've got to have something that's remarkably different that's actually going to get attention. So how about this one? Swedish naked floorball. Yeah, you play it,
Nice.
but at a professional level, it's played naked. Or what if you played with a ball that actually had gold thread in it, or it's something that was so ridiculously expensive, people go, that's the sport that you got to play with a gold ball. Oh,
Yeah, remarkability.
Remarkability is the key, which is, is it powerful enough that people would actually remark on it? So I'll wrap that one up for you, Scott. Thank you for your question. So the question was, with this online asset that you've got, which was a domain, how do you get floorball off the ground as a business? We had a look at starting with the mission, the purpose, what you actually want to get out of it. Is it about making money? Is it about building a community? Setting your objectives from there and then getting into the strategy and tactics. For the different strategies, look, you need a business model that's going to make sense for what you're hoping to achieve across entertainment, participation, or training and mastery. Switch people out from the other sports that they're going, look at things like seasonality to get there. There's a lot to deal with, and don't forget you've got to be remarkable along every step of the way.
Yeah, so guys, look, don't forget, we're here every 2 weeks to just answer 2 questions. Now, why that's important is this is how marketing challenges and problems work. One day, everything's fine. The next day, you come in one morning, there's an email in your inbox, and you've got a problem to deal with. That's why we're doing these so frequently. So as soon as that comes, you can forward it to us, or let us know, and know that you're only ever 10 working days away from getting an answer, a framework, and a bit of a solution. Now, the way I'd suggest doing this is actually build yourself just a recurring calendar invite and chuck that in your calendar, because you don't know when that problem's going to come or not come. And the idea is it sits there, you can attend if you need something, and if you don't, you can have a long lunch.
Maybe we'll get Dave to send out a recurring calendar invite with the next invite, which would be good.
We can absolutely do that. Perfect.
Great. So thank you so much for joining us for Stump the Strategist. Now, this was filmed as we go through. Questions will slowly come up on our blog at stepchangemarketing.com or at our Stump the Strategist website, www.stumpthestrategist.com. Google us. You will find us. We've got our SEO all sorted there. So thank you for joining us again for this fortnight. Do join us again in 2 weeks from today
2 weeks.
with different strategists and a guest strategist who we're announcing next Wednesday. Keep an eye on your inbox for who that's going to be. Kind of excited.
Yeah, guys, look, hopefully you guys saw the lineup for STS24. The names on that list are much grander than us ourselves. So really, really great people who are absolute leaders in their industry. So keep an eye out and keep it front of mind in case you've got problems that come up.
And if anything you've seen today has prompted some thoughts, some insights, some ideas, or you didn't quite get how to apply that to your business, you can drop us a line or give us a call at any time. Ask to speak to either Jeff Cooper, Senior Partner at Step Change Marketing, or myself, Adam. I'm the General Manager here. Thank you so much for joining us today. See you again in 2 weeks.
Catch you later, guys.